You know, one of the biggest mistakes men make when trying to figure out if a woman is into them, especially on a deeper, more intimate level, is thinking she'll just come right out and say it, like, hey, I want to sleep with you. But that's not how it works. That's not how most women communicate. If you're waiting for that kind of directness, you'll be waiting a long time. Because when a woman is interested in going there with you, she's going to say it, just not in the way you expect. Women are wired to communicate through subtlety. It's not a game. It's a form of protection, a way to test the waters. She needs to know you're safe, mentally, emotionally, even physically, before she gives you the full green light. So what does that mean for you? It means that what she says might sound casual or even innocent at first glance. But if you're paying attention, there's always something deeper under the surface. Let me give you an example. She might say something like, "You're different from other guys." Now, to you, that could just sound like a compliment, right? But for her, it's a hint that she's noticing you in a different way, maybe even imagining you in a more intimate scenario. That's not something she says to just anyone. Or she might say, "I feel really comfortable with you." And while that sounds sweet and simple, what she's actually doing is letting you know that her guard is starting to come down. Comfort equals trust, and trust is the doorway to deeper connection. And it's not just what she says, it's how she says it. There's a tone, a look in her eyes, the pause she takes before saying it. If you're too focused on waiting for big, dramatic signs, you're going to miss the quiet truths in her words. A woman who's considering you on that level isn't going to throw it at you. She's going to test if you can read between the lines, if you're aware enough to understand her without her having to spell it out. She might ask things like, "Do you always look at women like that?" It sounds playful, right? Maybe even like a tease. But that's a test too. She's feeling the moment. She's checking if you're in tune. Or maybe she brings up a topic that's a little more personal, maybe even flirtatious, not necessarily sexual, but intimate. That's not an accident. That's an opening. The key is to not just hear her words, but to listen to her energy. Is she leaning in? Is her voice softer than usual? Does she pause and wait for your reaction when she says something that could be taken multiple ways? That's where the truth is. In the subtle moments, in the soft spaces between sentences. The truth is, if a woman wants to sleep with you, she'll tell you, but she'll tell you in her own language. And it's up to you to learn how to speak it. Because if you don't, she's not going to feel safe enough to continue. She'll retreat. Not because she wasn't interested, but because you didn't catch the signal when she needed you to. It's not just about attraction, it's about alignment. So, if you're going to succeed with women, not just physically, but emotionally too, you have to learn to recognize the whispers before they become silence. Now, here's something most men don't realize. Before a woman ever thinks about anything physical, she's already making calculations on an emotional level. Emotional connection isn't just important, it's foundational. For most women, it's the doorway through which everything else flows, and I mean everything. If that emotional doorway isn't open, it doesn't matter how attractive you are, how much money you make, or how smooth your lines are, she won't let you in. See, men are often conditioned to lead with the physical. If there's chemistry, if there's tension, it must mean she's ready. But for women, it's the exact opposite. She needs to feel something first. She needs to know deep down that she's not just another option for you, that she matters, that you see her. And when she starts to feel that kind of emotional safety with you, she'll start saying things that might seem subtle, but they're actually incredibly revealing. She might say, "I've never opened up to someone this quickly before." That's not just a compliment, it's a clue. She's letting you into her inner world. That's her way of saying, "I feel emotionally safe here. I'm beginning to trust you." And once trust enters the picture, so does desire. A woman's desire is activated by emotional intimacy. It's like a key turning in a lock. And that doesn't mean she's looking for marriage or some grand commitment. Don't confuse emotional connection with long-term expectations. What it means is she's tuning into how you make her feel. Do you listen without judging? Do you make her feel seen, heard, understood? Do you pay attention when she speaks, not just to the words, but to the meaning underneath? Because here's the truth. A woman might find you attractive, sure, but if she doesn't feel emotionally aligned with you, she's not going to move closer. She's going to pull back. Even if she enjoys your company, even if the physical tension is there, if that emotional safety isn't present, she'll hit the brakes without even telling you why. And you'll be left confused, wondering what changed. But when you create that space, when you make her feel like she can be herself with you, that's when everything starts to shift. She'll say things like, "I don't usually tell people this, but..." Or "I feel like I can talk to you about anything." That's her leaning in. That's her guard dropping. That's her starting to imagine what more could happen between the two of you. Because women don't just give their bodies, they give their trust first. And once you have that trust, that emotional closeness, then the more playful, flirtatious side of her starts to come out. That's when she might start teasing you, touching your arm, leaning in closer. But it started with that emotional doorway. It started with her feeling like, this man gets me. I can breathe around him. I can let go. Too many men rush the process, thinking the physical will unlock the emotional. But the truth is, for her, it's the emotional that unlocks the physical. That's the order. That's the code. And if you try to skip that step, she'll feel it. And the moment will be gone before it ever really started. So the next time a woman starts opening up to you, don't just nod and move on. Be present. Pay attention. Because that emotional connection you're building, that might just be her way of saying, I'm ready for more. Now, let's talk about something that flies right under the radar for a lot of men. Once a woman starts to feel that emotional connection, once she feels safe and seen, there's a natural shift in her conversations. She starts to steer into deeper, more personal territory. Not necessarily full-blown confessions, but she starts dropping little breadcrumbs. She begins talking about things that relate to intimacy, past experiences, desires, even things that turn her on. And she'll do it in a way that might not seem obvious at first, but make no mistake, it's intentional. Here's the thing. Women are highly intuitive communicators. When they're interested in going there with you, physically, it's rarely going to be some direct, blunt statement. Instead, they test the waters with layered conversations. She might mention a movie that had a really intense love scene, and then pause, waiting to see how you respond. Or she'll bring up a story about a couple who had amazing chemistry, just to see if you understand what she's really saying. Sometimes she'll talk about a past relationship, not to dwell on the past, but to give you a glimpse of what she's experienced. And more importantly, what she wants but didn't get. She might say something like, my ex never made me feel desired, or I like a man who knows how to take control, but also listens. Listen closely. She's not just venting. That's a message. That's a woman telling you what turns her on in her own coded language. She may even lean into more playful or cheeky comments. Maybe you're sitting close and she says something like, you always know how to make me blush, or if I keep hanging around you, I'm going to get in trouble. Now, that's not just small talk. That's her putting the ball in your court. She's inviting a response, but only if you're tuned in enough to catch it. Now, I want to be clear. This doesn't mean she's giving you permission to push boundaries. What it means is that she's building a bridge. She's letting you into a part of her that she usually keeps private. And if she feels like you're the kind of man who can handle that space with maturity, presence, and respect, she'll keep that door open and even step through it. But here's where so many men mess it up. They either miss the cue completely, acting oblivious, or they pounce on it too hard, turning a flirtatious conversation into something that feels pressured. The secret is to match her energy. If she's playful, meet her there. If she's vulnerable, respond with something that shows you understand. Don't just laugh it off or jump to conclusions. Let the moment breathe. You have to earn those deeper conversations by proving you're not just physically interested, but emotionally intelligent enough to hold space for both. Because for her, that kind of talk is a form of intimacy in itself. It's mental foreplay. And if you handle it right, it can build a level of anticipation that's far more powerful than anything physical you could rush into. So pay attention when she starts getting a little bolder in her language, when she brings up late-night thoughts or talks about what really excites her. She's not just making conversation, she's showing you who she is underneath the... There's one phrase that a woman can say that should immediately make you pause and pay attention. It's simple, it's subtle, and yet it carries a weight most men completely overlook. That phrase is, "I trust you." Now, you might hear that and think it's just something polite, something casual. But for a woman, saying she trusts you is everything. It's one of the strongest signs that she's not just comfortable in your presence, but that she's starting to open the door to something deeper. Something physical, emotional, or trust isn't something she hands out easily. It's built through the little things. How you respond when she shares something vulnerable. How you listen when she talks, not to reply, but to understand. How you look at her, not just like you want her body, but like you see her. So when she says those words, "I trust you," what she's really saying is, "I feel safe with you." And safety is the first green light. Think about it. A woman might enjoy your company, laugh at your jokes, even flirt with you, but if she doesn't trust you, she won't let things go further. She'll keep that part of herself guarded. She might continue the conversations, the fun, the energy, but there's a wall up, and you'll feel it. That wall doesn't come down until trust is firmly in place. And here's where it gets even more real. Trust, for her, isn't just about what you do. It's about how you make her feel. She's asking herself, can I be myself around him? Will he judge me if I say something a little too honest? Will he take advantage of me if I let my guard down? These questions are constantly running in the background. So if she's telling you, "I trust you," it means you've already answered them without her even having to ask. And that trust opens the door to vulnerability. That's when she starts saying things she doesn't tell most people. That's when the flirty tone takes on a more personal edge. That's when her touches linger longer. That's when the silence between you feels rich, not awkward. When she trusts you, her body language relaxes, her voice softens, and suddenly she's not just there with you, she's present with you. Now, let's not mistake trust for permission. Just because she feels safe doesn't mean she's instantly ready to sleep with you, but it does mean she's thinking about it. It means her mind is starting to entertain the idea. It means she's no longer focused on protecting herself. She's exploring the possibility of connection. That shift is powerful, and if you respect it, if you handle it with patience and awareness, it becomes the foundation for something magnetic. Too many men hear a woman say, "I trust you," and immediately misinterpret it as, "Let's go to bed." That's the fastest way to break the very thing she's offering you. Instead, see it for what it truly is, a moment of deep honesty, a sign that you've passed the emotional tests she's probably been giving you without even realizing it. And if you meet that trust with maturity, presence, and care, she won't just continue opening up emotionally, she'll begin to open up physically too. Because for a woman, the two are intertwined. Her desire is rooted in how deeply she feels she can let go. Not just her clothes, but her guard, her doubts, her fears. So the next time a woman looks you in the eye and says, "I trust you," don't take it lightly. That's not just a compliment. It's an invitation to move closer. Not recklessly, not arrogantly, but with intention. Once that emotional connection is in place and trust begins to settle in, everything else starts to shift, especially the way she interacts with you physically. You'll notice it in the subtle ways she moves, the way she looks at you a little longer, the way her energy shifts when you're close. But here's the part a lot of men miss. Before a woman ever makes a physical move, she usually tests the waters with playful teasing and physical proximity. These are her quiet ways of saying, "I'm feeling something here. Are you?" Women rarely take a direct approach when it comes to expressing physical interest. Instead, they flirt with intent. That little laugh that lingers just a second too long, the light touch on your arm, or the way she accidentally brushes past you. Those aren't accidents. That's her way of getting closer without saying the words out loud. She's watching how you respond. She's feeling out whether the chemistry she senses is mutual or just in her head. And sometimes it's in the form of teasing. She might say something like, "You're such a flirt," or "You know your trouble, right?" Now, to most guys, that might sound like just banter. But if you're paying attention, it's much more than that. That's her dipping her toe in the water. That's her giving you a chance to engage, to mirror that energy back in a way that deepens the moment. Because playful teasing is one of the most honest forms of flirtation when a woman feels emotionally safe. You'll also notice her finding reasons to be near you, sitting just a little closer than necessary, standing next to you when there's plenty of space elsewhere, leaning in when she talks, even when she doesn't have to. This is proximity with purpose. She's not trying to be subtle because she's unsure. She's being subtle because she wants to see if you are paying attention, because how you react in those quiet moments tells her everything she needs to know about whether or not you're on the same wavelength. Here's what's important, though. She's not just looking for physical affirmation. She's also observing your control. She wants to see if you can handle the tension without jumping the gun. Can you sit in that energy, stay present, and not rush? Can you flirt back with confidence without making her feel like you've been waiting for that one signal to pounce? That balance is powerful. When you show her you can feel the chemistry and still stay grounded, she sees you as someone who respects the moment, not just someone looking to take advantage of it. What makes this stage so beautiful is the unspoken communication. You'll start having entire conversations with your eyes, in the silences between words, in the space between you. She'll say something flirty and look at you just long enough to see if you caught the message. And when you do, that's when the connection deepens. Because now it's not just emotional, it's physical, it's playful, it's more than anything, it's intentional. She's no longer just enjoying your company. She's enjoying the chemistry between you and seeing where it can go. But here's the thing. If you're not present, you'll miss it. You'll treat her closeness like it means nothing. Or worse, you'll overstep because you misread it. The magic is in the awareness. Knowing that a woman's teasing, her touches, her nearness, they're not random, they're invitations. So when she leans in, when she laughs at your joke and rests her hand on your leg, when she calls you trouble with a smirk, know that it's not just flirtation. It's a signal, a moment, a window. There's a moment in every growing connection where the vibe shifts. You've built emotional rapport. She feels safe. The teasing has begun, and now she starts planting thoughts of what-if scenarios, most of them involving just the two of you alone. And when a woman starts mentioning being alone with you, that's not just small talk. That's not coincidence. That's intention. It might come out casually, like, "Imagine if we were on a weekend trip together," or "I wonder what it would be like if it was just the two of us right now." Sounds innocent enough, right? But don't be fooled. That's a strategic form of communication. She's painting a picture. She's inviting your mind into a private world, a space where you and her are no longer in public energy, but intimate territory. The key here is understanding that when she brings up being alone with you, she's not just being playful. She's testing readiness. She's checking your awareness. And more than that, she's giving you insight into how she's been imagining you. Because trust me, women don't talk like that unless they've already entertained the thought themselves. That kind of comment is her way of handing you a carefully wrapped message and watching closely to see if you'll open it the right way. Sometimes it won't even be verbal. It'll be in her actions. She'll find reasons to pull you into more private settings. Maybe she invites you to hang out somewhere quiet. Maybe she lingers after everyone else has left. Maybe she makes you an offer that subtly removes the crowd from the picture. It's not random. When she starts creating those opportunities for one-on-one time, especially in relaxed, quiet environments, it's because she wants to see how you act when the noise fades and it's just you and her. But again, this isn't about rushing. It's not about assuming that alone time equals permission. It's about recognizing the shift in tone and space. When she starts referencing intimacy, whether directly or indirectly, it means she's considering something deeper. It means her curiosity has crossed from emotional safety